Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Explore More Sundowner Sessions. This is volume 6. There was no sun today, though, because it's a seriously wintry, stormy day in Cape Town. But we're getting on with it, and there's a lot of people that are still running around outside and getting their fill of adventure, which is typical Cape Town style. So tonight I have very good friends of mine, and I'm excited to welcome Jaco and Katja, and they've founded a business that I'm really fond of, and it's called Wild Canvas. Welcome, Jaco and Katja. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Warren. We're glad to spend some time with you guys.
Cool, man. Yeah, it's I'm really quite excited to chat to you because I've seen your business take some nice steps forward and grow, and I think South Africa has so much to offer in terms of the adventure market. And I'm excited to chat to you about some of the products that you are working on and that you're going to roll out in at the end of the year when international travelers can once again get on a plane and come visit us. So I'm not going to ramble on too much because I'm going to open it up to you guys to really give us an idea of what Wild Canvas is about and how clients can go about igniting the spirit of adventure. You see, I'm quite good. I read your website.
Clearly. Or maybe spending too much time with us.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, to start off with, maybe you can give us an idea of your backgrounds and some of your passions and what made you take a little diversion from the corporate world into a business that's filled with adventure and offering awesome experiences. Maybe we start with Katja. What's your background?
Starting with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Warren, and cheers.
Cheers.
To a cold, wintry day. And as I'm starting to talk, I can hear the rain pelting down on the roof, which is, in a true Cape Townian style, when the rain comes down so hard, it's like you're competing with the sound of raindrops. So with a fire in the background and a nice little dog on my lap, I'm feeling quite cozy tonight. So thanks.
You're looking very cozy, I promise you. The background's awesome. That little dog looks seriously comfortable. So happy days.
Yeah, totally. So yeah, Warren, a bit of my background is really, I think I would probably call myself a true Cape Townian, born and bred in Cape Town. And, when I say like a true Cape Townian, I think it's, the love for the mountain, the ocean, the coastlines of South Africa. I think my whole childhood, I can actually just remember getting lost in nature, reconnecting to, just not reconnecting. As a child, you connect. So connecting with nature and the activities that it offers. So I have, I have so many memories of diving and hiking and cycling. And so this is really the essence, for me around being, a true Cape Townian, if you embrace that. So yeah, that's kind of like, I think, the thing that really sort of, what's the word, defines, defines the essence of what makes me feel alive. And I guess, when we start getting into the whole sort of life of things, when we become adults, it's like I also joined that rat race where, it was then all about, making life work and life happen. And, before you know it, and a degree later, and then in the first job and yada, 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 everybody knows the story. And before you know it, what happened to that wonderful young girl that used to love climbing mountains and, cycling long distances or short distances or exploring the ocean and the coastlines. So, I guess that kind of like is the story around, reconnecting with that and saying, surely there is a different alternative to, you know, to just sitting behind a computer all day long and dealing with problems that just, you know, kind of like, I don't know, makes loads of money for somebody else most of the time. And, you know, sort of like questioning what that's all about. And yeah, so I think there's an element of me that, you know, I was never an employee. So, you know, always that free spirit of being a consultant and, you know, still maintaining my sense of freedom, and spent a lot of my youth traveling through Africa and going on all sorts of adventures in the old Transkei. I used to go off in my little van and explore the hills of the Transkei and connect with the people. And, you know, I've got these memories of like being barefoot and, you know, like in the soil, African soil. And so that's really like the essence of me. And I suppose it doesn't actually surprise me that I took up pottery, which is, you know, one of my other big passion. You know, the feeling of, I mean, clay is really soil, isn't it? So it's really the groundedness and working with clay. And yeah, so I think that's kind of like, I would think a big sort of part of my life and who I am, and why I'm not surprised that actually at the, you know, at the midpoint of my life, you know, I'm kind of questioning, okay, I've done that whole like adult big thing, and you know, let's do something that really is, you know, where I can express my passion and you know, connect with that what really matters, you know. And for me, that is really about yeah, being real and being in connection with nature, and feeling a sense of aliveness, and you know, keeping that inner child alive, you know, even if it is just for a little trip, you know, where you connect with the exploration and the adventure side of ourselves.
I think you're right, because like in South Africa, a lot of us get to certain points in our lives where we're just dedicating too much time to our jobs or our businesses, and we get stuck in the corporate field, and it's all just go. And in Cape Town in particular, we're so lucky that we've got incredible mountains, great forests, you know, the winelands and the wonderful oceans, and people still forget about that, you know, as you get to your mid 40s or 50s or whatever, and you just never get out there. But it's changed a lot.
Yeah.
And remember, you know, when we were growing up, our parents and their friends, they were nowhere near as active as your 40 to 50-year-old guy now living in Cape Town. So it's certainly changed a lot, and for the better, because getting chained to a desk or to a laptop, it totally sucks. So yeah, what a great place to live, and what an awesome place to start a business like Wild Canvas, because it's really there for the taking all over the place. So
yeah, and I think one of the things that, you know, I can probably accredit to my parents is that, you know, my roots are from Germany, as you know, Warren, and I think that's part of, you know, them coming from the northern parts of Germany and then arriving in a place like South Africa. The diversity and that access, like you say, to nature has obviously, you know, they were always, you know, that was always a wow factor for them. So I grew up with parents that were very much like, wow, the mountain, and wow, the ocean, and wow, the food, and oh, wow, this, and, you know, because it's such a contrast to obviously their lives. But I think,
we're lucky. I mean, Cape Town, one of the best places in the world. Great choice for your parents to come here, that's for sure.
Absolutely. It was my luck.
And Jaco, your side? I mean, you obviously, you came down from Johannesburg. Were you born and bred in Joburg?
Actually in Potchefstroom, the university town. My dad used to, up to a couple of years ago, work at universities all his life, and that's where I grew up in.
Okay.
So I've always been quite a outdoors person, active person.
Cool.
And I think one of the things that I'm still convinced of is that I'm always the youngest person in any room, even when my kids are in the room, of which I have 4. And the eldest is already over 21. So maybe
Wow.
there's not a whole lot of truth in that, but at least I feel that.
Yeah, that's cool. And the
yeah.
move down to Cape Town, obviously a life changer for you.
Yeah, for sure. I actually fell in love with Cape Town when I was 9 years old. Came down to visit some family for a school holiday. And it wasn't even all the way down. It was up to Paul. And I just fell in love with Cape Town and said one day I would want to move down here. And it's now been almost 6 years.
Cool.
And I cannot think of a better place to stay where from my doorstep I can either run into a mountain or cycle into a mountain or swim or kayak on a lake or go for a hike, everything from your doorstep. So we definitely staying in the best place.
Yeah, I mean, for those of you watching, Jaco's well known for just disappearing. And it's either to the mountain or the ocean or, you know, and then he just leaves us wondering where on earth he's disappeared to. But he's out there getting his adventure game onto the max. So, and then in terms of your sporting side, Jaco, I mean, I know you love mountain biking. Is that one of your main passions at the moment?
Yeah, well, actually, biking has been one since I was quite young. The road bike bug bit me, I think I was about 7 or 8, and started competing at quite a young age and really enjoyed it. And then a friend one weekend said, okay, because he's been trying to get me into mountain biking for a long time, and I always said, I'll never sit on a mountain bike. And then he convinced me to go away for a weekend, 2 families, and I was lost in mountain biking completely. I got out of that ride completely muddied because I fell over in mud a couple of times, jumped into a river with our bikes to wash them literally.
Yeah.
And I sold both my road bikes within I think a week or 2 of that, and started mountain biking.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's definitely a main thing for me. But I just love being in nature. I really connect when I'm out in nature. So if it's running shoes or a kayak or a swimsuit or anything really that takes me out in nature is really great for me.
Yeah.
I
mean, we bumped into you in Greyton just before lockdown, like a random little catch up, and we were running in the trails out in Greyton, which are magnificent, by the way, and you were riding your mountain bike, and I still can't believe it. You just came riding past us on the main road of Greyton, which is, you know, an hour and a half out of Cape Town, and we were both doing the same sort of thing, you know, in the mountains, loving life. And I mean, that's what the Western Cape is all about. There's so many areas that are on our doorsteps, and that's one of the things that Wild Canvas can help all these clients you know, really get into. There's so much on our doorstep, and it's easy to get to, and it's easy to experience. So let's dive straight into Wild Canvas. You know, you guys obviously met through the corporate world. You have similar interests and a passion for mountain biking. So I want to know about Wild Canvas. You know, you've got some cool ideas, and I really like the vision with some of your products. So maybe we just get into it. Tell us about Wild Canvas, and then let's go through 1 or 2 of your products that you want people to experience.
Yeah, I think, you know, I think we can say a lot about it. I think one of the first things I always think about when I think about Wild Canvas for me as an individual is I get extremely excited because it's not a job. It's not something I have to do. I'm not required to do it. It's something that I wake up and I want to do it. Because it's the kind of the things we do is also the kind of things that makes my heart jump. So I think we actually met in the corporate world and quite quickly struck a very good friendship that led us to this.
Yeah, so I remember distinctly one of our own journeys that we took, and this was really the birth of Wild Canvas. we did this incredible journey, which is one of the journeys we now do offer to our guests, one that we fell in love with. And that is what we call the Karoo to Helen Gunn journey. It sounds much worse than what it is, but it's a superb journey because it really just meanders through the Karoo and into the most remote parts of the whole sort of Swartberg Pass area and into De Hel, which is a particular area. It's described as De Hel. I don't know why it's actually, I think it's De Hel because it's got some sort of historical background around why it was called De Hel back then, but it's beautifully set in a natural position. Anyway, so we were traveling through this, and I remember vividly the moment when we have these moments where we just cycle next to each other, kind of like dreaming off. And this is the beauty about cycling along these beautiful roads, is that your mind kind of just goes off, and it's just time disappears, space disappears, all your worries disappear, and you're just kind of like taking in all this thing around you. And I remember, I think it was almost simultaneously that we looked at each other and we said, imagine doing this for a living. Like we looked at each other and said, imagine if we could offer this and share this wonderful, active, engaging journey with other people.
You know, and the first thing I thought was, there's no way that I can replicate what I'm getting from this for someone else. I think we've managed to do so.
Yeah, totally.
We've heard some feedback from others who've been on some of our trips. If we are not inspired by a route or by a trip or by an activity, we just don't do it. Because we're not doing this mainly for an income, because we, but because this is our passion.
Yeah.
And it was quite a eureka moment.
Yeah, and I think from there on, we really took that, and over time we said, well, you know what, maybe we can do that, and it doesn't have to be like an all or nothing thing. Let's just start dreaming that up, and I think that's kind of like what we started doing, bit by bit, putting it together and making it happen.
I think one of our most unique things for us was, because we've both got quite a diverse corporate and professional background, we said, all right, what are the things that we will do to make sure that when we put a product on our website or send someone an itinerary of, this is your holiday that you're going to spend in South Africa, how are we going to make sure that what we as the two people with this dream can say, all right, that itinerary is what I would want to do. I would want to take, I wait my whole year for a holiday. I'm going to fly all the way to South Africa. What will make me do that? And we came up with, and it was quite interesting how we came up with this, the wow test. It actually happened while half of it came up while we were on a kayak, just, messing around on some Saturday afternoon or whatever in the ocean on our kayaks. And we paddled all the way out of Hout Bay into the wild open ocean. And
well, it's actually called Shark Alley.
So it's a small island, and you actually paddle through Shark Alley. But we were quite motivated because we were pretty tired by then, and we had a couple of beers in the kayak. So we paddled through the Shark Alley, and we sat there on this island that you can only really get to with a kayak. You can with a very long and quite arduous hike. And we sat there drinking beers, and we came up with we call it the Founders Wow Test. The kind of things that make us say, this is the kind of trip that we want to do.
Yeah. Let's have a look at them. I've read them a few times. I absolutely love what they're all about. But maybe you can just quickly talk us through the wow test, and then we can have a look at a couple of your tours.
Okay, sure. So it's 5 simple ones. Take us through some of them.
Yeah, so really what we decided, that we would not offer anybody anything that doesn't create a deep sense of appreciation. So what we really mean by that is, it's like, yeah, exactly that, maybe a deep breath.
You stand back and
you
you cannot actually believe what you've just experienced.
Yeah, it's like taking in the magic that,
Yep.
you know, that nature offers you and your surroundings.
Yeah, or you meet a local who has, for, you know, I don't want to give too much away, but, you know, has accomplished something in their life in their local community, and you've just experienced part of that.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
so it really creates a deep sense of appreciation
Wow.
and thankfulness.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
then,
and that's what you should be getting from travel at the end of the day. If you're not getting that, then you've probably gone to the wrong destination.
Yeah,
absolutely.
for sure.
Yeah.
Mm.
So the next one is, it has to challenge my comfort zone, even just a little. Which, you know, it's always us, we always quite enjoy it when our guests have a little moan along the way, because we kind of know that it's like, that's what's challenging their comfort zone. And when I say a little moan, it's just like that sort of little stretch, you know, because you know what it's like. I mean, you, Warren, of all people, will know when you've swum the torpedo, when you've run that marathon, and while you're doing that, you're going, why the hell am I doing this? How awful is this? What's wrong with me? Why am I doing this? But then afterwards you go, man, that was the best thing I've ever done in my life. So
Definitely.
that sort of thing, like just jump like the fish jumping out of the fishbowl, the very cliched little icon there. But it's like, you know, that's really that feeling that, imagine if you could come home and say, and you know what actually inspired us with that was, I have a very, very good friend from Germany, from Hamburg, who came to visit us. And we took her on one of our day trips, which was a mountain bike day trip, or we actually call them just bicycle trips. But, you know, we always on mountain bikes. And we took her into the mountains, which is a very easy, actually a very doable, for anybody can kind of do this trip. And afterwards, she sat, when we were having our beer, or glass of wine or whatever, we always have like a little kind of thing afterwards. She sat to me and she said, you know, Katja, what the best thing was about this? And I said, what was that? And she said, I never ever saw myself as a mountain biker. And I thought, oh, wow, that's exactly it.
Yeah,
you know, it's
she was
like,
stretched.
you know, she was stretched, and she could now put on her little life, you know, things I've accomplished in my life is I've been on a mountain bike trip. So that's just the example.
And
of
I think,
that.
but with that, I just want to add that don't think at this point, oh, I have to be an activity junkie. You know, you've heard what I, you know, the kind of things I do. But that's not it at all. That's actually the opposite. And we'll get a little bit more to that. I think the next one for me inspires my creative juices. That maybe we can talk about that in conjunction with our name, because it's quite a, you know, wild name. Sorry for the very lame pun. But very lame. But
you're so lame.
I know I am. But you know, both of us have quite a creative streak in different areas, and some in similar. But you know, we also had a bit of a think about what is it that actually makes us creative. So when, you know, Katja mentioned her pottery, she also draws. I also like drawing, a little bit of pottery, but then, you know, other things like drumming and poetry and so on. And the kind of things that usually inspire that is a moment that flutters, gives your heart a little flutter, you know, something amazing in nature. So what we want to make sure is that not only are we inspired when we put together a trip for someone, but also when you come on this trip, even if it's half a day or if it's 6, 7, 8 days with us, you would at some point feel that your creative juices have been stirred. You know, so that also comes to our name. I think our name, you know, it's definitely the wildness of nature, the wildness of ourself, the wildness of our activities, the wildness of life, but also a canvas is something that's blank, isn't it? You know, when you go and buy one or you make one, it's blank. And we with you want to fill a holiday canvas, which is something that you want to put up in your lounge above a fireplace like this, because it makes these couple of great things. You know, I had an amazing time, and that's really what we're about. But then I think the fourth one is also pretty amazing.
And I just want to say, like, the canvas also came up because, you know, we really, I think one of the core essence of Wild Canvas is that we want to create memories. You know, it's not a tick box exercise or anything like that. It's like, you know, memories are something that really just had such a massive impact that they just can't leave you ever. And I think
definitely
that's really what our mission is. And that's what the canvas is. It's literally like, it was such a memory that, you know, we can hang that up on our wall as a canvas, and, you know, it's there. So
at the end of the day, all these experiences start off.
We create memories.
No, they start off with just like a blank canvas, and then, you know, all these experiences just build up, and it's something you never forget. And that's what we're so lucky with in Southern Africa. We can really have these unbelievable life-changing experiences, you know. And obviously the fourth one, you know, blows me away with awesome nature. I mean, we've got it. We're so lucky.
And I think, you know, both of us believe that you should take less time behind the camera on a holiday and more time in front of it. You know, because you really want to come here and scratch and sniff nature. You know, all the things that you can experience in nature in South Africa is very unique. And it would leave an impression for quite a while to come.
Sorry about that. Juniper's going mad.
That's nice. She's picking up on the wildness. But, you know, Warren, I think also it blows me away with awesome nature. I think that is also a key thing, that we really seek out those spots, because, you know, South Africa has so much nature, but it's like those hidden gems and, you know, those local spots, you know, which is like, you know, you can go up the Table Mountain and kind of like go, oh, wow, this is nice, you know, and then you can just do it a little bit differently, and it's like, oh my God, this is nice. You know, it really has to blow you away, because there are beautiful spots all around the world. You know, it's like Cape Town is wonderful, but there are, I mean, I've got a list like this long about, you know, where I want to go that has beautiful nature. It's not like Cape Town is the only place. But we've got to really, you know, we really want to highlight those like spectacular parts of what South Africa has to offer.
I think these things are awesome, because I've done one of your experiences on Table Mountain, and I it's so funny, but I'd like to have those on cards. And then as we go by, I'd like, that one really hit me, because I'd love to come up here and take photographs, because even though I'm not a photographer, Jeepers, how awesome is this place? And then just around the corner, like, whoa, hang on, I'm starting to feel it. This is quite hectic, but oh my goodness, you know, what a sense of accomplishment, because here we are at the top of this mountain. We've just done this ravine. So yeah, well done on those little wow test factors, because they're really cool. And I think once people have done the experiences, they'll have a better appreciation for what the wow test is all about.
And I think they're also very personal. Although that's something that we came up with, it is something that we've seen other people experience. You know, a 70-year-old man who's not been on a mountain bike for 20 years gets on an e-bike and cycles this amazing route, and stands back, and his heart flutters, not because he's 70 years old and he's got a pacemaker, but his heart flutters because I managed to do this. At 70, I did not sit on a couch or sit in a bus. I got on a bicycle and I smelt and felt and experienced nature.
That's
and
cool.
I think one of the things that maybe, you know, would be a good place to say here also, Warren, is that we really do cater for everyone. So just to you know, this is not a sports junkie thing, or, you know, we're not all about like stretching yourselves to, you like die hard kind of stuff. This is like, we consult with the people that we do our tours with, to find out exactly like what is it that they want. It's about the other people. It's about people, not
Yeah.
about us.
Yeah.
You know, because it doesn't really matter what you do, you can always create that same wow factor. So, you know, we adapt and we adjust and we use e-bikes or normal bikes. You know, we have a backup vehicle that, you know, if you don't want to do the whole route and you just want to do part of it, you can. You know, it's about the enjoyment and the, you know, that's what's important. It's not about, you know, achieving something or like getting to the destination and saying I did it in this time and all of that. So it's, you know, that's not
Strava moments.
No, that's not.
Sorry, Strava.
That's not what Wild Canvas is about. In fact,
let's have a look at To Hell and Gone.
Yeah, so I'm going to show you a couple of things. I just want to get my screen sharing going here. So I think maybe, Warren, before we say too much about that, just in terms of what you experience with Wild Canvas, what is the kind of things that you would do? We really believe in a trip where you join us, if it's for a day or for a week or whatever time period, and you don't have to think about anything that happens. We look at everything for you. So from your from arrival to departure, everything, your how we are traveling, what kind of bike or Jeep or whatever it is that you're going to be on, where you're going to stay, whatever food you're going to have, whatever drink you're going to taste. All of those things are done by us, and I think in quite unique ways.
Yeah.
So we just want to show you a little video here. This is one of our tours. We've so maybe just before we talk about that, Wild Canvas for the moment focuses on three main things. It's either tours by bicycle or by Jeep or by foot. So we'll talk a little bit about the bicycle stuff now, and they either half-day, full-day adventures, or then multi-day. And with the multi-day, for the most part, we go from point A to B to C without getting into a car. Here or there, for a couple of reasons, we might, but for the most part, it's by that. So let's have a look at this video.
Cool. I like it. Very cool. Very cool. I love it. That looks awesome.
Yeah, so I think the, you know, for us with these kind of tours, it's one of the very first things we said, because it's a requirement that you become a registered tour guide if you have a business like this. And one of the very first things we said to one another in the classroom was, we will never, ever, ever be tour guides.
Yeah.
So that's really what we are, because we believe that you're not coming on a tick box kind of tour.
So we are registered tour guides, just to put that, but we're not tour guides.
Yeah.
and yeah.
That's
awesome.
So this specific tour,
which we don't do with our guests, by the way.
This leg we don't do, but on our own, we thought to put this little picture in. You cycle into an area, as Katja referred to earlier, the Hell, and I must just point out, she was not listening to one of our storytellers with a history behind the Hell, but there is a nice history that our storyteller on the one night will tell you. She was probably busy pouring a drink or something. But anyway, so we cycled back out of the Hell, but on this trip, it was just us. We decided we actually going to go over the mountain at the end of the Hell.
Wow.
And around. So we literally
It's a gorge. It's basically, the Hell is like called, it's a gorge. It's the name of a long gorge. And we hiked out of it rather than cycling back.
Yeah.
I have to also say that I don't think I have ever sworn as much as in about 8 hours of my life.
Yeah.
I think every second word was starting with, I think F.
Yeah.
some German and English words.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks relatively steep, and yeah, it's not great carrying or pushing a mountain bike up terrain like that.
It took mountain biking to a whole new level for
completely.
me.
No, I think this mountain it's higher than Table Mountain. But at some point, we sat there with our 2 bicycles, having lunch on this mountain that we carried there, and it was one of those. Don't worry, you don't have to experience it like this, but it was really a heart-fluttering moment, that you'll remember forever.
Classic.
That's really us having completed that hike to Helen, Gunn. That's also where the name comes from, because, that was really stretching. What is the wow test?
Yeah.
To stretch your comfort zone just a little.
Yeah, but I think our tours they're really about slowing down in all different ways. It's not, I think you put it nicely when we spoke about this yesterday, it's not about the pace of how fast you're cycling, but it's more what you're feeling like internally. So, if you happen to come across a stream like this and you feel you want to stop and lie down, or put your head in the water, or your feet, or get in fully, that's the kind of thing that we do. I think what we also really pride ourselves in is you become like a local. So we take you to those local gems that other people won't find. So this gentleman, he owns a wine farm, Peter Bailey Wines, and we cycle past there, and we spend some time with him, tasting wines, look at his vineyard, and actually speak to the winemaker.
Yeah.
Wow.
He actually does olives as well.
Yeah, he also does olives. And, like when you meet these local people in the middle of nowhere, they always come with such amazing stories to tell. It's like, and every time we go, it's like a different story comes out of the closet. And it's just, so I think that's also important, that, it's not just about nature. We really do engage with the people that we encounter along the ways. And it's always, it's by the nature of things, it's like, it's always quite alternative and quirky people with really amazing stories, what got them there, why they are still there, what they are doing, whether it's artists or winemakers, or as I think, Jaco, your next slide, we came across this this hat guy. This was like in the middle of nowhere, where we encountered this guy that was having a photography exhibition of all the local people around, and his girlfriend made felt hats. So we spent an hour trying on all the different hats and looking at all the different photography and chatting to him. And, he is actually now one of the people that is, one of our points of interest, so all our tours go past his little gallery, and he's an incredibly interesting guy. So while Canvas also really engages with the people and the cultural sites and the history of the area, and so that you really get a good sense of what this whole area is about. So that's
I'm gonna hit pause, because Jaco he got up and was like, I'm gonna throw some wood on my fire. I can't do that because it's just around the corner. So just give me 2 seconds. Hold on a second. Right, the wood is on the fire. We're back in action. As I mentioned in the beginning of our chat, it's probably like 10-11 degrees outside today, so pretty chilly for South African standards. And I know all the Europeans are going, what are you guys talking about? That's not cold. Anyway, before we threw some wood on the fire, we were talking about the trip that's called To Helen, Gunn. And I just wanted to, I was thinking now while I was up quickly, but one of the cool things about trips of this nature is that you end up visiting a lot of smaller towns that you would normally miss, because either you hop on the N2 and you just head up to the garden route, and a lot of people don't go along the R62 or even some of the other gravel roads. And we're so fortunate in South Africa. We've got these amazing gravel roads that go through the most incredible mountains. So is this trip on good gravel road? Is it tar, or is it track, single track? How does that all work?
Yeah, so most of our trips are a combo, but almost never on tar.
Yeah, no, yeah. So I think we pride ourselves in saying that we really try and stick to the back roads. And I think, Warren, what you are saying is so valuable, because I think that's also part of bringing, tourism into into those parts of South Africa that probably need it the most, and that's also where the interesting people are. And I think we do 100%, we stay either on gravel roads or on jeep tracks or on farm roads, or when we go into nature reserves, which we often go to, we'll be on, we actually don't really go on single tracks so much, just because we're very wary of wanting to make our trips available for everyone. So it's not technical. We don't do technical unless we would have somebody that says, can you do this trip for us? We all like ace bicycle, cyclists or mountain bikers, and we want to do that, then which comes to, we're also going to speak about, or now might be a good point to say, we do bespoke tours, which is, if we are flexible around accommodating needs. So we could easily do to Helen, Gunn and make it like hardcore technical. But our standard tour, Helen, Gunn, is for almost anybody, unless you've got like, some other issue that you shouldn't be doing tours like this.
My feeling is that post COVID-19, a lot of clients are going to want to go to experiences that are off the beaten track. Yes, you have to fly into the big cities, that's all fine, but the sooner you can get out of the bigger city into the countryside, the better. And there are magnificent places out there, especially, an hour, 2-3 hours from Cape Town. You get these small towns that are incredible. And as you say, you've just bumped into the guy who's a really good artist or photographer, and he's got these quirky little hats, and that type of thing is awesome. And if we can get more people to go to these little towns, I mean, it's just perfect. And the likes of Greyton and McGregor, I think they're wonderful, and I wouldn't say they're exploding. There's more opportunities to take people to these wonderful places. So, okay, we've touched on to Helen, Gunn, but maybe just give us a better idea. What towns do you travel along? Where does it start? Where does it end?
That specific trip. So I think that's also one of the things that we do is we aim to not have the same trip over and over and over and over and over again. So we do vary, but this trip
starts in Van Wyksdorp, and
which is where?
Yeah, so that's on you actually coined it there, not too far from the R62.
Okay,
but it's in the small Karoo.
Yeah, and it goes over the Rooiberg Pass and ends up in Karlitsdorp, which is an incredible little village, or town actually. They'll probably shoot me if I call them a village.
Yeah.
There's incredible Boer War history. So, that's like brings in a whole different element. Then goes along, we follow the river, which now eludes me the name, but anyway, we follow the
Mikey's River.
Is it the Mikey River?
Yes,
okay,
Mikey.
So we follow a river all the way to the foot of, and that road is a beautiful meandering road where there's a lot of artists and winemakers. And then we hit the bottom of Swartberg Pass, which is obviously the spectacular Swartberg Pass, over to Prince Albert. And on the other side of the top of Swartberg Pass is where you go into Die Hel area, which is actually history around that is where it's called the Hell because the Boers actually escaped into this area.
Oh, so you did listen.
I did listen. Because they were really hunted down, and that's where they found a place of refuge, and there's a whole lot of story around that. So we actually stay in, there's some like awesome little accommodation down there. And we have somebody coming to tell us about the whole story and the history, because the people that actually live down there are actually still they belong to the lineage of those people that you know, have that history.
And that whole area is actually not too far from Oudtshoorn, which is probably more well known, you know, all the ostriches and stuff. So it's in that general vicinity. But as I say, you know, that's a glimpse of that specific trip. But even that trip has got, you know, various variations to it. But I think the next trip that we do is in quite a stark part of the world. Actually, it's called the Cederberg. A little video to show and some really nice pictures. We actually call it the
Cederberg Solitude trip.
Let's just get that.
I love the Cederberg. I think it's an incredible part of the Cape area. Really amazing.
Yeah, no, it's amazing.
It's so unique. You know, I think it's a little bit like, you know, I think it's like America has like the Grand Canyon. I think South Africa has, you know, the Cederberg as a very unique landscape.
Yeah.
I'm going to, at the end of the interview, I'm going to edit all these videos and post them at the end so people can go and watch them, because Zoom does make them a little bit jumpy. But it gives you a good idea of the terrain and the riding. Looks awesome. Wow. Beautiful rock formations.
Yeah, it's amazing, eh? Old kokerboom trees, wild horses.
What time of year would you say is the best time of year to experience a trip in the Cederberg?
So we like to do that in the split seasons. So
April, May, June only if it's not as cold as now.
Yeah.
But like maybe end of March, April, May, and then September, October, beginning of November. So it's really those.
Yeah, it's a spring, autumn kind of trip. But what's also quite nice about it is even if you have someone who'd really like to experience a Cederberg and they can only come in November, then we change the trip around and cycle early mornings and late afternoons, and then have a nice long siesta in the middle of the day when it's warmer. And the places we stay at night, it's got nice heating and stuff. So even if you do it in the winter time like now, you'll definitely have a very nice bottle of red next to you, a roaring fire, and a warm bed to sleep in.
There's a lot of water in this photograph. Is this this must be either the shoulder months or closer to winter, I gather?
Yeah, this was actually, we took this on one of our recce's, and we obviously wanted to travel over that bridge. And funny enough, we went on a family weekend, I think about 6 months before this photo, and we actually sat and had a beer right there, and it was completely dry. It was sandy. So yeah, but the Cederberg is absolutely amazing, and it's got so many hidden gems that that we still discover every time we go.
So this photo in particular is this. So what one of the things that we do in the Cederberg is we visit the Moravian village of Heuningvlei, and they have all of these donkeys and these donkey cart rides, and we've organized them to take our guests on, like in this picture, on a donkey cart ride, and it is an absolute blast because the guy who's riding the donkey cart, all of these donkeys have different names. So it's like you'll have like, but it's all in Afrikaans and very very
stout
Cape
names.
Mamsbre, you know, a kind of Afrikaans. And it's like, you know, all the donkeys is like Bishop and Meneer, and all you hear him is like, it's like, come on, Meneer, Bishop. And it's like, I mean, I don't know if you've ever been on a donkey cart ride, but it's like, it's so funny. These donkeys have no sense of direction or whatever. Don't worry, it's all safe. We all survived, and every guest has survived. But it's so we, you know, we weave in these different experiences so that, you know, our wild canvas experiences aren't just like you're going to sit on a bike and just ride. It's really, you know, there's a little donkey ride. So we really surprise our guests with all these different little experiences.
Yeah, and I think that leads quite nicely into saying, well, I did refer earlier, we don't only do multi-day trips. So say you in SA, you've got a half a day or a day and you really like to experience nature, you can do that. You fly into the metropolis of Cape Town, and we can show you forests and lakes and amazing mountains within half an hour drive. And this is one of our trips that we do where you get the opportunity to, for half a day or full day, depending on your availability, cycle through orchards, through vineyards, through forests. We have an amazing lunch. We have a swim in a lake there. You can see clothes flung over a bike there, and having a nice swim there and a nice picnic. And we do some wine tasting and all that within either an afternoon or a whole day. And you've experienced full of Cape Town nature on a bike.
And then guests obviously arrive just with their riding gear, and you supply them with bikes, be it normal bikes or e-bikes.
Yeah, it's up to them, but you don't need to bring anything other than even just normal trainers or tackies and comfortable clothes. You know, if it's summer months, you come in shorts and normal shirt. It's definitely, you don't have to wear cycling gear at all. We supply helmets and gloves.
And comfortable seats.
And very comfortable seats.
So no need to bring the Lycra.
No, definitely.
Please don't, actually.
In this pair is only one allowed to wear Lycra, and it's not Katja. No, I'm kidding.
Cool. Tell us about the Jeep experience that you have in Atlantis and the tours in and around Cape Town.
Yeah, so I think jeeping has always been, I mean, it's something completely different because it's not so activity based as cycling. But jeeping has been a long, has a long history in my life, and Dave, who is one of our not quite a founder, but he's a partner in our, I guess, in our business, that he is really the king of jeeping. So we have several vintage and modern Jeeps that we use. And the idea is really to be riding open top. It's just a different way of experiencing the Cape in particular. And the feeling is, I mean, everybody knows that feeling of standing or sitting in an open top Jeep, driving along the beautiful coastlines of any kind of peninsula, but particularly the Cape Peninsula. And this feeling of freewheeling in a Jeep through, you know, around the peninsula, stopping off at wine tasting and lunches and harbors and beaches, and really getting to know the Cape in a very local kind of way. So for us, the Peninsula Jeep Tour, which is one of our tours, is very much an experience of experiencing the Cape as a local. I think that's probably, for me, the highlight.
Yeah, because we, you know, there's, I think Cape Town, anyone can Google what to do in Cape Town. But for us, it always comes back to the wow test. You know, how did that make my heart flutter? Even in a Jeep, how did I stretch my comfort zone? You know, what today can I actually write on my holiday canvas that I want to remember the rest of my life for? You know, so we show you iconic things that some of them you would be able to see on your own. some you won't, but it's more how all of that just flows together in your whole day, because you can have a wine tasting in a rental car or on a tourist bus, or you can go and experience a whole day where you meet penguins, where you see amazing scenery, where you've got the wind in your hair, where you get your feet wet in ocean, sand between your toes, and you sip on an amazing wine while just reminiscing of everything that you saw for that day. And that can carry on for more than a day also if you want. And if you're a little bit more activity-based, sorry, I'm scrolling through here to get to our video. We also have quite a unique tour that you start in the early morning, and we meet you and take you up to the west coast. It's about a little less than an hour's drive from Cape Town, where you we'll look at the video now, but where you can not only experience sand dune driving and sandboarding, but I must say quite a nice lunch that we put together.
Cool.
It's just before dinner time here now. I wouldn't mind having some of that now.
So this is at Atlantis, and you say it's about an hour from Cape Town?
Yeah.
There's Katja experiencing some real sand. Cool.
So what you might have noticed in there is, compared to the previous two posts and also two videos and what we've said before, is it's a little bit more fast-paced, but that doesn't mean it's only for young people like this. You would see us on the sandboards as well, and it's quite a fun day out where you don't only experience dune driving with a 4x4 expert, but also go down a dune either standing up on a snowboard like a board or a sit-down board.
Yeah.
And really quite fun. And you see Table Mountain in the background on this photo, and the ocean, so it's really quite a spectacular day out.
No, it's awesome.
I think Warren, you know, what sets us apart around these Jeep tours, you know, from other maybe tour operators, is that, you know, people who come on a Jeep tour with us, whether it's to Atlantis or around the peninsula, it's almost like, you know, we just go with the flow. It's not a set itinerary. You know, people, you know, our guests can say, oh, let's stop here, and we stop. You know, let's do this. We can change. We can even change plan. You know, we can go, like we recommend, and we obviously bring our expertise, you know, to the whole day. But it feels much more that you're partnering, or our guests feel like they're partnering with us to have an awesome day. And it's just like, they're not just riding along with our agenda, you know, so it feels more like it's a much more flowy experience. And so I think that's really you know, what sets us apart.
Cool. I think one cool thing about doing an experience in an open Jeep around the peninsula is that, you know, a lot of the tours you end up being, you're in a van or a Sprinter or a Quantum, and there's windows, and it's like you don't really get to feel the Cape Town air.
Exactly.
So get in an open vehicle, and you can take 2 or 3 of these vehicles and have your own guide. And just take it easy, you know, so go and enjoy a nice lunch, have some great South African wine, and then get in the back of a vehicle and feel the wind in your hair, you know. So,
and I mean, you know what it's like. It's like you drive out of Camps Bay and you go like, stop, that's nice, and the Jeep stops and you jump out, you know. It's not like doors open, like you say, like jump out, like get your feet into the water, collect some shells, jump back into the Jeep. It's like it's like, it's a whole different experience.
We have no agenda. Our purpose is, with that morning when we get up, is not to get to the end destination. It's actually having a good time with you
as our guests, and that's it.
But then we also don't do just jeeping and mountain biking, but we also, because we both love the mountains so much, started adding some hiking trips, and as with any of our other trips, they are very unique, and it's the kind of hiking trip which Warren's been on before. He's actually hosted one because we were in Rwanda, which we'll speak about shortly. And it's really taking you on your own 2 feet into areas in and around Cape Town, and also other parts of the country, of the Western Cape, when we combine it with other trips, that very few people know about. That's the one thing, but it's also experiencing nature in a different way. So, to give you an idea maybe of a multi-day hike, because it's either, again, it's a half full or a multi-day hike, where you would, at the end of the night, sit on top of Table Mountain, where you sleep after having spent the day swimming in one of the lakes on Table Mountain, just after you've hiked through a waterfall and could even wet your hair in a waterfall, and on a path that you would not see anyone else. And again, having one of our very nice lunches. So again, it's a very unique experience that we want to make sure meets the 5 things that makes us say this was a wild trip.
Cool. Yeah, and I think just to add to that, you mentioned the lunches, and I think the one thing that Wild Canvas is very proud of is that we really do think of the detail, and maybe that's where our creativity comes through. It's like, we don't just have like a throw together lunch. We want to be eco-friendly. We want to be beautiful. The packaging needs to be right. The setting needs to be right. We really think about we have such attention to detail around, engaging all the senses, that the whole experience feels, the word that comes to mind is just full, like it just feels full.
That's an awesome photo. And I mean, the Cape Town mountains are just magnificent. And I don't think people must be scared about walking in the mountains as part of a group in terms of fitness levels. You can take as much time as you want to get up, and the walks vary. You can obviously head straight up these amazing ravines, but you can also take routes that are easily walkable.
Yeah, and just to add to that, Warren, one of the things that, it's always nice to see some of the reviews that you get from guests. And, one of the things that really struck us as a theme from a review from our guests is that, nothing is too much effort. We seem to have this ability to just adapt to our clients. Our funometer is like right up there, and that people never feel like that anything was too much for us to handle, and that's exactly it. It's like we aim to go to the top of the mountain, but you know what? Hey, if we only get halfway, it's fantastic.
Okay,
and that's the beauty of it. It really doesn't matter, and we're going to make it like a jewel. Anyway,
For those of you who don't know what a jawl is, it's a jolly good time.
Jolly good time. Because it's not about the destination, right?
You're quite right. I think what I'd like to suggest is,
No, go for it.
What I'd like to suggest is let's not dive into Rwanda now, because maybe what we should do is put at least 20 minutes, half an hour into Rwanda. And we call that for another episode, because I think Rwanda is a wonderful country with so much to offer in terms of biking experiences and walking experiences, and amazing culture and such a diverse people and colorful people. So maybe we won't touch base on that tonight, if that's good with you guys.
Yeah.
Sure.
But I think just to touch base on a couple of things. Have you noticed the T-shirt I'm wearing, by the way?
I
I love it.
Well done.
Oh, you can buy that at the merchandise store.
Yeah.
Very nice hoodies.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You
But
must get one for winter, Warren.
I need one. Come on, you know, I'm a registered wild canvas tour guide. You know,
I think you must come over for a South African braai and come and pick it up.
we'll do that. We'll do that. But I think what we'll do is we'll end off here and we'll chat about Rwanda in another session. But I think, guys, just from my side, I think fantastic vision. I love the concept. I love the fact that you can take people into environments that they haven't been or not really acquainted with, and really, without sounding silly because it's your whole tagline, but really ignite their spirit of adventure, because it's so important. And it doesn't matter what age you are or what you've experienced in the past. If you're active or if you're not active, you can still get into nature and take a huge amount from it. That'll benefit your overall holiday experience. So yeah, I think thumbs up to you both. And I can't wait to see how your business grows. And I also can't wait to get my clients to spend more time with you on these awesome experiences. So yeah, looking forward to it. And I've really enjoyed the chat, and I hope people who are watching also enjoy the information. I'll put all the details at the end of this about how you can contact us, and we can chat more about the experiences. But cool, guys. Thank you so much.
Right.
I appreciate your time.
Thanks for the time.
And from your side, well, we good to go. Yeah, I see you guys are drinking local South African wine. What are you drinking?
Dimmer Star.
Yeah.
Nice.
A little bit of advertising.
Cool. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah. We've been drinking so much wine. I'm on Jack Black tonight. I love their pale ale, so we're going to lay off the wine, maybe. We'll
I know, this lockdown has to end now. Otherwise, we're all going to...
I agree. Cool. Yeah. That's the team from Wild Canvas, Jaco and Katja. Thank you so much. It's been awesome chatting to you guys.
Thanks, Warren.
Cheers.
Cheers.